recording. So I might get you to just quickly log in. It might take a while, actually. Not live yet.
Okay.
Excited? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I think we are live. Yes. Okay. Is it live? All right, cool. I think we're live. Can you see us in the group?
Yeah, it says we're live on my phone.
Okay, awesome. Perfect. Hi guys, hi recommendation. This is Ush from Push with Ush Fitness. As promised, going live with one of my clients, Jyoti, talking about her health and fitness journey. So, you all know who I am, online fitness coach for Asian women. So I'm going to pass straight over to Jyoti and just say, Jyoti, could you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are, and then kind of go into why you decided online coaching and working on your health was important to you at the time of your life when you started training with me.
Okay, so hi, I'm Jyoti. I am a mom. I am a podcaster. I co-host the Native Immigrants podcast, and I have just kind of been living as we all have, living through the pandemic and trying to get through it. I recently gone back to work, which is very exciting. I think that's everything I could tell you about me. I am 37 and I'm from up north, living down south.
Cool. So a year ago, it was, I think, just before the pandemic, you reached out to me and were like, Ush, can we have a chat? And you wanted to discuss your health and fitness and what you're going through at the time and what you wanted to achieve. So why don't you tell us why then was the right time for you to jump on your health and fitness? What motivated or drove you to do that? And then also why you decided an online coach would be the best bet for you.
So it was a long journey getting to the point where I was ready to start working on my health and fitness. I have a 2.5-year-old. At the time, he was just over 1, and I had been through a horrific pregnancy. I had something called hyperemesis, which was awful. I was sick and nauseous and in and out of hospital and on lots of medication for the whole of my pregnancy. It was horrendous. And then even for a little bit afterwards as well. I was one of the unlucky ones who actually had some symptoms afterwards as well. And that kind of very much affected my confidence. It affected I was very anxious. I was diagnosed with severe anxiety, postnatal depression, and PTSD as a result of my pregnancy. I also had a really difficult birth, just to compound it all. Had a pretty terrible birth. And so there was a lot to recover from. So physically, I was recovering for a long time. During I was on maternity leave for a year. And then towards the end of that, I said to my husband, I don't think I can do this. I don't think I can go back to work. I was fair and kind of just basically just kind of had a meltdown in front of him. I'd been holding it all in at this point. I'd been trying to just get on with things. And then I spoke to him, and we then got me into therapy, and my therapist was the one who kind of, obviously they wanted me to get to a point where I was able to just manage day to day before I started adding things into my life. But I had got to a point where I was thinking that I needed to do stuff that would make me feel good, and that my therapist was really encouraging me to do things that bring me joy, that make me feel good, that make me feel confident, and part of that was kind of tackling I had lost a lot of weight during my pregnancy, but then gained a lot of weight towards the end of my maternity leave, where I've been comfort eating. Comfort eating has been a theme through my life, through my life. And then I had put on a lot of weight. I had lost all my confidence. I didn't, none of my clothes fit. I didn't want to go outside. I just didn't want to be, I wasn't me anymore. I wasn't being the way that I am. I'm a very social person otherwise. And so I got in touch with you because I had heard great things about you. I followed you on Instagram already. And I think I had just been waiting for the right time to actually take that step into getting in touch with you and trying to figure out what I could do next, what I needed to do next to be able to feel like I was getting a bit more control back in that side of my life. So that's what led me to you.
Okay.
And and then we had that initial conversation.
And why do you think that you went for an online coach rather than a face-to-face personal trainer?
Partly it fit in with my life. So I had my son at home, and so it made things easier. I could work things around him. I don't drive, so it's just not easy for me to get around places. And obviously the pandemic, we had started our conversation before the pandemic,
Yes.
but it was just kind of serendipity that basically that had happened that way, because then, you know, I signed up with you, and then like, I think it was like a week later, the lockdown happened. And so it worked out to be the right move anyway for me, in terms of like just the way that life had worked out. But I just felt like I'm not a big gym person. I've tried gyms before. I feel quite intimidated when I go to gyms. And I just felt like I didn't want to waste my money. I've wasted so much money over the years joining gyms and they're just never going. And this way I had no excuse, because my excuse has always been, I need to get there. Once I was in the gym, I would do the work, but getting to the gym was always my problem.
Yeah,
And
that's the thing.
And so actually not having that excuse meant that I had to just, you know, put my trainers on and get going with this exercise that you gave me. I had to just do it, because there was no exercise. There's no like excuses. There's nothing to stop me. There's no barriers. You know, I could work around my son's nap times, or my husband was working from home, so he kind of helped take care of him when I needed a break. So and
I was going to ask you, kind of, obviously we were working at home and you lived in a flat at the time. So how did that fit in with everything? Like, obviously, you know, there's 3 of you in there, like, you know, was it easy to juggle and actually fit it in? And did you feel like it was overwhelming, or were you able to actively do it?
No, actually, and I think partly because I wasn't working, so I had left work. That was again on the advice of my therapist. I just wasn't ready to go back to work at the end of my my maternity leave, so I had left work, and that meant that actually I was free for a lot of the day. And my husband was working from home, and so when I wanted to work out, I would work out in my son's room while my son was playing in the living room, and my husband was working next to him, so I didn't have to worry. And it was like 45 minutes, maximum an hour of exercise. So it's just, you know, just being out of the room for a short time. It's not like you're going to be out of the room for like the whole afternoon or anything like that. It's just an hour out of your day.
It's not like going to the gym, is it, where it takes half an hour to get to the gym, an hour in the gym, shower, and then home, and you've wasted not wasted, but it's taking you 3 hours for a 1 hour workout.
Exactly. So I could, you know, park my son in the living room, let him play, go and do my workout, come out of my workout, make his lunch, get him sorted for his lunch, leave him there again with my husband while he was in his high chair eating, and I could go and have a quick shower. Like, it worked really, really well. It was very, very easy to kind of work my life around it, and it became very, very quickly, it became really routine for me to be like that. And it's not much has changed really. Like, I mean, I'm working now, so it's kind of, now I only started working last week, so I'm still figuring out the timings, but like tonight I'm going to be doing some yoga, and it's going to be at 9 o'clock at night, and I've booked in, and I'm really excited to do that, because like exercise now for me is something that I really look forward to.
It's really part of your lifestyle now, isn't it?
But that's not where I started. That's not how I felt when I first started, and that's not like the mentality. I'm not one of those people. I'm not a workout person.
So let's talk about your transformation. So where did you get to, like, where did you start and where did you end up in your transformation? And I want to talk about your scale victories as well as your non-scale victories. So what have you achieved outside of just the scales? So hit me with your transformation, or hit us with your transformation.
So, I mean, we'll get the scale stuff out the way first. So I started off, I think I was like 13 stone 2. And then went down to, I think, what was the lowest I was at? I was like 11.8 or 11.9, I think. And then I have kind of yo-yoed a little bit in between there. But actually, like, in terms of, so the non-scale stuff, so my I mean,
let's just stop there. Can I just congratulate you on getting down to like the 11.8 from 13.2? That is a massive drop, and you look incredible, and I can only imagine how you feel right now, right?
Well, I feel like myself again. So I can fit into my old clothes. This is one of my main goals, was that I don't want to buy loads of new clothes, especially during the pandemic. I was like, why am I going to go wearing them? I just want to be able to wear the clothes I have and
of course,
feel comfortable, instead of feeling tight and restricted, and you feel a bit uncomfortable and everything chafes and it all hurts a little bit, and you have like those funny marks all over you at the end of the day. And I didn't want those anymore, and I am at that point now where I don't have that. I don't feel uncomfortable in my clothes.
So that would be one of your non-scale victories. What
definitely
else?
Absolutely. My wedding ring fits me again, and that was another thing that had happened. Like, it just didn't fit, so now I can wear that again, which is another non-scale victory. And these are very small things, but they really mattered to me, and they really they really impacted my confidence when I couldn't do those things, because I just felt like, oh well, who have I become, is what I used to think.
Yeah.
I think aside from all of that, the biggest victory for me was learning to manage my mental health. But my mental health, as I said, was in a really bad place when I first started, and I wasn't coping very well. And actually, I think I'd had a dip just as we were beginning. Like I had kind of started to improve, and then I had a massive dip.
Yeah.
When all of this pandemic stuff happened, and my kind of anxiety just really grew, and I think that was the right point for me to start with you, because I learned to manage my anxiety by being able to channel my energy into something that was good for me.
Yeah.
But also being able to just take my mind off things. So, you're like, when you're anxious, your brain is constantly ticking over with things like all the time. And I can't say that it stopped altogether, because I still do that. It's just how I am. I think that's how I'm wired. But now when I feel the anxiety getting to a point where I'm just kind of going up and up and up and up, I know that I need to do something like exercise. I need to get out, and I need to use up some of that kind of like
get out in nature
energy.
Yeah,
Go for a walk.
Yeah, exactly.
Or put on my trainers and lift some weights, like get on my workout clothes and go and just kind of put myself in a different frame of mind. And as soon as I put on those workout clothes, I do feel different, like I'm ready to go. Like I'm ready to go and do something. And so I'll go and lift some weights in my son's room again if I want to, and I change it up. I have the confidence now to be able to change it up as well, and know what exercises work for whatever I'm feeling at that time.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I think that's been a learning process, and that's been something that you've really kind of helped me with understanding, like giving me lots of different things to try and see what actually works and fits. And then you listening to me when I didn't like something, or if I really liked something, then you kind of tailored stuff for me. And I think that made me much more comfortable with the idea of exercising in a way that I like.
Absolutely. Like everything I do is about the client. So, I want the client to feel comfortable, but also come out of their comfort zone a little bit by trying something new. And if it really doesn't fit, then we kind of, regress it, or we progress it, or we do something. But what you've just said segues on nicely to kind of the coaching aspect of it all. Tell me how you found the coaching, obviously the weekly calls, the app, everything. How did you find me as a coach? What was your experience? And I imagine I wasn't here, so I'll put fingers in ears. So feel free to say what you like.
Well, the weekly calls ended up being more like therapy sessions. So I was in therapy at the beginning of us, and I ended up having it felt like I was having an extra therapy lesson every time I spoke to you. And it was really good, because you took it on board. You took on board how I was feeling. And so if, for instance, I didn't get in the number of workouts we had planned for, you understood why that was the case and what we could do to then maybe work on that, but also not allow me to beat myself up. Because I think that's what happens. This is what I used to do when you're on that kind of like that roller coaster, or that kind of cycle of like exercising, dieting, gaining weight, exercising, dieting, gaining weight. When you go through that for so many years, and
falling on and off that bandwagon. Right?
And I had 36 years of this kind of life, and when you're in that mind frame, you get used to beating yourself up, and then it makes it even worse, because then you comfort eat to make yourself better, but you're kind of half punishing yourself and all that kind of stuff. And you broke that cycle for me. So having those conversations really helped stop me in my tracks. And you would ask me what my wins had been, even if I felt like my week hadn't gone the way that I wanted it to, or that we had planned for it to, because there were always wins. There were always things that I had done correctly. But when you're the kind of person that constantly focuses on the negative side of, I haven't done this bit, you forget to see the things that you have done right.
And you forget to celebrate it as well.
Exactly. And, and a big part of that is improving my relationship with food. And so, because like I said, I've been a comfort eater. I've got a very sweet, I grew up in a shop. I've got the sweetest tooth from the earliest age, and it's these things, like learning how to manage those things. And that came through the additional advice of not just the exercise, but with the kind of eating plan, not even an eating plan, just learning how to eat better,
learning how to eat better.
And how to think about it better, because it's all the psychology around it, isn't it? And I think that's really important, and you kind of helped me figure that out. You worked with me on that.
So we had a quick question saying, how long did it take to drop the stone, well, over the stone that you dropped?
So it took me, we started in April, because I got ill at the beginning of our sessions, didn't I? So kind of could have been COVID, might not have been COVID, who knows? But from April to, I think that was December. Yeah, December. Yeah.
So
in
about
that
a
time,
stone and a half in that time. Now we did
and
obviously have ups and downs as well. I
yes,
think we
we
had a
did.
bit of a break. Do we have a little bit of a break in the
We
middle of
did.
that?
Yeah, we did. And there was lots of, life gets in the way, doesn't it? So you can have all these plans to do all this stuff really quickly. I'm going to do it in 6 months. And then, life happens and things come up in that time, like kids get ill or you get ill or whatever, things happen. And so we worked around it and we managed it. And yes, there was a break, but then we had to, then we carried on and just picked up where we left off. And, if I did gain weight, then that was, well, what it is, you just work to lose that again and carry on your path that you originally planned. I think that if you go into something and you just think, I'm just going to stay on this linear path and nothing's going to get in my way, that is automatically going to make you feel bad when you don't hit those targets that you set for yourself without being realistic about what else is going on in your life. So like recently I said I started a new job. I haven't been able to exercise because I haven't been able to figure out how to fit it in yet, because things are changing. Obviously everything's opening up, things are starting to change at home, so I'm trying to juggle it all. But in that time I haven't gained any weight.
I was about to ask that question.
Because I've been eating in a way, in the way that you taught me to eat. So I haven't changed my diet because I'm not exercising. I haven't started eating less. I've just continued to eat in a sensible manner. I try and balance everything. I still had chocolate, I've had ice cream, I've done all that stuff, but I haven't gained anything. And I think that comes from the fact that I'm much more conscious of how to eat, if that makes sense.
At the end of the day, like with the program, you get a bunch of videos, right? You get all these educational videos. Now the goal of those is to set the foundations. Now you've lost that weight over a slower period of time than say someone who's going on a 1,000-calorie restriction diet, but for the last, you've been off plan now for 4 or 5 months, right? As in not working with me for 4 or 5 months. And you've maintained that weight by using the foundations and the education, right? That you've gained, and you've kept it off, which is incredible. And now when it comes, or if you want to kind of go further, you know exactly what actually needs to change. And that is simply adding a little bit more exercise in to your life, because it sounds like you've got everything, like it's going well, right?
Exactly.
Right now?
And I do have another target that I want to hit, but first I'm just going to let myself figure out my life. And just, I'm working now. My husband's going to start going back into the office soon. We're still managing, my son's still not in nursery, so we're managing that around both of us working now. There's all these things in life that we have to juggle. And so I'm, like I said, I'm going to do yoga tonight because I really want to do some exercise today. So I'm going to do that tonight. I know that's planned. And I'm starting to try and reorganize my routine, reschedule stuff so that I can work it into my daily life again. And then once I'm comfortable with that, I will up it. And then, and that's when I know that I'll be able to start losing that weight. But I think what I've learned now is that having it's good to have a kind of target in terms of when you would like to get stuff done by. But it's not been hard and fast, because I know that I have dietary restrictions. So I'm gluten-free. I am vegetarian. I can't eat eggs because they make me feel really ill. And so, I've had these things to tackle. When you're vegetarian and you can't eat eggs, it's really hard to get protein. Into your diet. And so, and trying to figure out how I do that without overindulging in soya and corn, because you don't want to eat that kind of stuff. It's all been an education for me. So, I kind of, it might have gone slower for me than for other people who could eat, chicken and a salad or whatever every day if they really wanted to. I've not been able to do that, but I have made it work for me, and I have lost weight at a pace that I'm happy with.
Exactly. So obviously you paid a price for the coaching. Now it's difficult to kind of put a price on what you've achieved, but what kind of value do you think this whole experience and the coaching program with me brought to your life and your future?
I mean, in terms of my mental health, it's invaluable. Like, I am now a functioning human again. I can be a mom, and I can be the kind of mom that I want to be. I can be the kind of wife I want to be. I can be the kind of friend I want to be, because now I'm able to function and support the people that have supported me through my journey, through my mental health issues. So that's invaluable. I mean, you can't put a price on that stuff. In terms of just, and again, like, I didn't have the confidence to go out there and do stuff. I wasn't functioning. I wasn't working because I couldn't function. And now I have a job. So
I
mean,
know
the value of anything, if you want to put a price on it, it's my salary, you know. I have a salary.
I know. Yeah, when we met, you were barely functioning, and you were like, I'm just not in a good place in my life. Right. And now look at you. You're like a full-on podcaster and a worker and a mother and a wife. And it's just all come together. Yeah, you can juggle things. It's just all come together really nicely for you. And you know what? I think in one of my videos, I talk about fitness mindset, and I feel like, and I've always said, fitness mindset will impact all areas of your life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you're hard and fast proof of that, I think.
I mean, thanks. I just feel like if I hadn't have started the journey with you and I felt very comfortable with you. You're an Asian woman. You understand how our culture works. You know how things are. I felt really, and you were the same age as me, so I could talk to you very openly about the things that were going on in my life. And I knew there was no judgment going on. Never. Because you're not that type of person. And you came with recommendations from other people that I knew. So I just knew that I was in the right hands. And it just made me feel so much more comfortable to be able to get started in a place where I thought I was just rubbish at everything. I was like, I'll never be able to do this. I can't lift weights. I can't do this. I can't do that. And actually, you were like, no, you can. And we did. And it was a slow build as well. It's not like you instantly go into being able to do
100 kilo deadlift.
Yeah, exactly. But eventually, I'm not sure I can still do that, to be honest. But like, you get there, you work hard and you get there, and you supported me through that. And I can't thank you enough for that, because I'm like the person that I want to be again. And that's really nice.
And what's amazing is, like, with all my clients, I have this different relationship with all my clients, but I feel like they're all my friends as well now. Like, you know, when you kind of work with someone for so long and you get to know someone, because yes, I will know a lot about you, but actually on the flip side, as your coach, you want to know about me as well, don't you? You don't just want to think of me as a robot who's talking to you once a week, or, you know, doing a plan for you every so often. It's about having a relationship. And I know we've never actually physically met, pandemic, and all that kind of stuff, but I would consider you like someone I would just drop a text to, or say, hey, you know, when we can finally just go out, we'll go and meet in the park or whatever.
And we do. Like, I haven't, like you said, I haven't been working with you for the last few months, but we still kept in touch. We still talk. We still kind of go, oh, how are you doing? You know, and you ask about my son, and like this. It's
send you videos of dogs for the baby.
He loves those. But that's the value of being able to train with someone who's on the same wavelength, I think.
Absolutely. And
it can have such a massive impact in your life, that beyond just losing a few pounds and looking at the scales every other day or whatever. So
so I guess my last question for you is, for anyone who is in your position, you know, maybe feeling the way you were feeling back then a year and a half ago, and is thinking of like working on themselves in terms of their health, mindset and fitness, what would your advice be to them if they're teetering on the edge of contacting a coach like myself or getting to the gym? What would be your advice right now?
I mean, I think the first thing to do is just stop thinking about it and actually start doing it. And that first step of just contacting, whether that's you, whoever you want to work with, you know, ideally I would say work with Ush. But just get over that first hurdle of sending that first message, or picking up the phone and calling, or emailing, however you want to get in touch with someone, just to find out what they're about, who they are, what they do, what kind of mentality that you have to find. I mean, it's the same when I was finding a therapist to work with. You have to find someone who you connect with, because unless you have that connection, you can't be open to what they're saying and they're never going to listen to you either. So you need someone who's going to be able to like hear what you're saying. If you're not comfortable with something or something's not working for you, you have to be able to tell them that.
Absolutely.
And feel like you can. So I think, contact Ush or contact whoever and get going with it. Like that's the first hurdle. Once that first hurdle's over with, it's so much easier. Like it can open up a world of wonderful, and it's hard work, but don't be scared of the hard work because it pays off.
Yeah. And one of the, and you just mentioned something there, and one of the things I always ask people on the first consultation call is, am I somebody you feel you can work with? Like, you need to feel comfortable enough to tell me everything that's going on in your life that is affecting your health, your food, your nutrition, everything, right? So you need to have that comfort level enough to tell me that. Like, if you're not comfortable with me, then absolutely find somebody else. So yeah, no, absolutely. I think it's that first hurdle, and it always is that, when do I start? A lot of people have this kind of, even if they're just going to the gym, I'll start on Monday, and then Friday to Saturday they literally binge eat, right? Start today. What's stopping you starting right now?
Exactly. Yeah, no, don't wait till Monday, because Monday never comes in the end, like it's always like the following Monday. I know, because I've been like that. I still am like that with some things in my life. I will still procrastinate massively. But with this, I would say just get on it. Like, if you have a feeling that you want to make a change, capitalize on that feeling and just do and make the change, like make it happen. Start it now, because it will make a difference. It will. I mean, I wish I could show you before and after of me, like mentally how I was. You can see the before and after.
Can you imagine like a scan of your brain?
Just the craziness that was going on, because I was so overwhelmed by life. I just couldn't, when I say I couldn't function, I couldn't function. And to get from that point, pretty much this time last year to now, it just feels really good.
You're an incredible transformation story, because yours is so much more than just a physical transformation. Yours is a complete lifestyle overhaul, a complete mental health transformation. You've gone from somebody who, couldn't really function, like you said, to somebody who's functioning really damn well now, and it's incredible. And I'm so proud of you. I could not be any prouder.
Thank you. That comes from learning that it's okay to make time for yourself. And I think that what happens with Asian women is that we don't make that time for us. We learn from our moms and our grandmothers that you give constantly, and and you never make time for yourself. But you have to be able to get through life, everyday life. You have to give yourself that hour a day.
Yeah, absolutely.
All those things.
Just going to see if there's any other questions. I don't think so. No, it doesn't look like it. But listen, I want to say thank you so much for taking your time out to talk to me and the ladies who are watching or will watch on replay. And we will always keep in touch. And I cannot wait to see what you achieve over the next year by yourself. So thank you so much, my lovely.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop the live stream now. Thanks, Ari.